Alright, so here's the deal. I saw recently on YouTube there was a design for a stock prop plane. I don't have that on this computer, it's on a different computer, and this design intrigued me because it's contained entirely within a single structural fuselage. It's reminiscent of, it actually really looks like a jet engine here. Let me pull one out for you. Basically what it is it's stay Putniks set up so that they, you get an amount of them in a ring, and you set them up so that they just hit the edges. They just fill this perfectly, so there's no gap between the sides of the stay Putniks and the structural fuselage. You also have some isothermic radioisotope thermoelectric generators to provide power, and SAS. So these things spin up through SAS. Pretty neat. And then you have this somehow having batteries on here. They can extend out past where they should be able to. Quite interesting. But you can use that to keep this thing from sliding out. So I'm going to go ahead and put that back in there. So the guy who originally came up with this design, he did two planes with it. He did one with one prop, standard fighter orientation, and then one with two props, which was a biplane style twin engine. I'll put a link to his video in the description. Yeah, so I decided, you know, I want to make one of these. So I started off with this. I started off with, well, this is an early iteration of it. This isn't having any ailerons. At this point I was just trying to get the engine really configured. And so something I found is that this has a lot of torque rolling. Like, that engine just torques this thing over in an instant. Very uncontrollable. So then it's okay. So I'll do a little bit more work on it, and I evolved it to this. This is very similar to the double, except that it's got tail connector nose, comes down to a nice point. You can see this one has control surfaces, but you may have noticed these outer two control surfaces are angled, and if you look at these don't control, oh, well, they shouldn't control anything. Apparently that somehow slipped by. But they don't control anything. Those are there so that when the aircraft is moving at a significant speed, they'll counteract the torque rolling. This is the best way I've found to do it. You can see I've got these two SAS, these two advanced inline stabilizers up here. They're not enough. They're also why these solar panels are here. So yeah, we can go fly this thing. It's pretty simple process. First step is you put SAS on, then you stage. You swap over to your engine. You should have SAS on. Oh, I almost forgot to put the brakes on the main craft. So this should have SAS on. What you do is you hold Alt and E to set your trim for it to roll. Don't scroll while you're doing this. It messes with the camera in weird ways. So the reason SAS is on is because if I let go, it'll set it to 0. And I have it set up right now to use 1 to swap from high angle attack to low angle attack. You're just going to use this one. This one doesn't really do too much. So, yeah, this thing is ready to fly. So we're going to unlock the SAS, hit the brake button, which will allow the plane to start moving. And as you can see, it's actually accelerating at quite a good pace, right? You might say, well, you know, this thing's a success. It flies. It'll take off. It's not very fast, but that wasn't the point. It looks stable, too. Those fins doing the appropriate amount to correct, maybe a little bit over-correcting at higher speeds. And, you know, it reaches a decent speed of like 60 meters per second. Not the fastest plane out there. Certainly not what you would expect from a wing shape like this. You would expect this to be a much faster aircraft. But you know, it can hold a decent climb. I haven't done any sort of altitude testing on this. I haven't spent too much time playing with it. And here, I'll try and land it for you guys. I haven't landed one of these just because I've been doing a lot of tests, and they look really beautiful when they explode. I will say, oh boy. And it's a little flaky because, you know, as the speed changes, the amount that these affect flying changes. You know, it's not consistent. So as far as landing these things, similar to a normal aircraft, except in that you need to stop the engine at some point, and you have to switch over to it to do that. So you're going to want to line up properly. That's not lined up. Hello. Okay. And at this point, I'm going to cut the engine by turning on SAS. As you can see, I was talking about that dynamic amount of adjustment because of those fins at different speeds. Immediately it started slowing down and just listing right over because the torque from the engine was removed and it was at a slower speed. But we got it down regardless. Pretty good. But, you know, I said, well, torque rolling. Who wants that? Who wants to have to account for that? You know, and I know that 2 contra-rotating propellers will fix that. But as the guy who this is based on stated in his video with his biplane, if you have 2 engines outside of the center of mass out here and out here, the craft becomes a lot less maneuverable. So I decided, well, I'll copy Dornier, and you may have noticed the name, the Dornier Double Dove, or Dove Double, and put 2 engines in line, contra-rotating, one at the front, one at the back. So let's go ahead and have a look at this thing. Setup's pretty similar. Pretty similar to the other one. You just have to spool up 2 engines. So go to the first one. Get it spinning up in the correct direction. With SAS on. Oh, I forgot to put the brakes on. I'll put those on in a second. Because this thing probably would take off with just 1 engine. That's awfully peculiar. Oh. Right. There we go. So back to this engine, and we're going to spool it up. Okay, fully spooled up. You can watch your trim over here. Once it gets to the end, you're good. So then the next thing to do is you're going to go back to the main craft, do all your pre-flight checks if you have any, and then go to your first engine, turn off SAS, go to your second engine, turn off SAS, go back to your main craft, turn off the brakes, and now you can see this thing is accelerating rather rapidly. It's actually turning a little bit to the right, or left. May have spooled up the engines differently. But as you can see, this one is significantly more powerful than the other version. It's got 2 engines, and yeah, it's actually a really nice flyer. I do have these blades set up for mode swapping as well. It doesn't appear to have any sort of visible effect on the craft, so. But on a flat, where the other one reached 60 meters per second, this one will reach 68, looks like, 69. It's a little dipping. Yeah, I'd say 68 is max speed on a flat. It's got good maneuverability. You can't turn too fast or you will just stall. It's got a little bit much, actually. If I could tone it, well, I could tone it down. I probably should. This one, of course, has a much better climb rate. That's a 30-degree climb at 53 meters per second. Oh, it's leveling out. That's why it's speeding up. Again, I haven't done any altitude testing. I wonder if this one has infinite vertical. Can you climb straight up, plane? I'm gonna put you into your stall state here. Oh, wait. It is starting to lose lift, but it looks like it's pulling it. Yep. All right. It can do an almost near vertical climb. I can't get it to stay at vertical. It keeps wanting to fall off. Not enough speed for the surfaces to hold it there. That front engine's a little loose. I should probably tighten that. Whoa! You can't do too sharp of turns. The engines don't like that. Also, if you do go into a dive because the engines are fins, they start to freak out, it looks like. Once you return to standard speed, they stop bouncing around so much. That one's bouncing around. I need to tighten that one up, looks like. So, let's see if I can land this. Now those of you that are paying attention in the build screen, you may have noticed that very easy to land, actually. There you go. You just swap between the two engines, turn off SAS, or turn on SAS actually, and that'll cause the engines to stop. You do it quick enough, you won't have to deal with any torque rolling. Unlike the other one, this doesn't have default deflected control surfaces, so you don't have to deal with that. Overall, just a really great flyer for what it is. You'd never expect that these would work. Anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching.